neighbors, and welcome to Miracle Farm 1927 Homestead. My name is Miss Hope, and lots of my kids around here call me Mama Hope, because there's a lot of children around here that aren't mine, but we claim them all. And I wanted you to join me today. We're in a little building called the Summer Kitchen, and this is where I used to do all my canning, and it is a great big giant mess. So you're going to see some video of when I first started on the Summer Kitchen and up until today, the progress I made. It's not finished by any means, but I've got so much information in there, I just wanted to show you what it did look like, the progress, and hopefully, Lord willing, one of these days I will give you the finished product. So thank you for joining me today. If you're new here, welcome, and we are so glad to have you. And if you don't mind, if you like what you're seeing, this is the homestead part of our channel. On Mondays, we have Manly Monday that is named after Almanzo Wilder, and Laura called him Manly. And it's all about tractors and farm equipment. And on Fridays, we have the homesteading part of our channel. And that's what you're going to be seeing today, and you're so welcome. We are glad you're here, and if you don't mind liking and subscribing, and we'd love to hear your comments and especially your questions. So let me show you what we've got done. This has been an ongoing struggle. I have been cleaning this for quite a while now and just can never get it fixed. But this is our summer kitchen, and where I store a lot of things. Mostly my empty jars. And all our coolers. And planters. And this is the stack that was stacked all the way to the ceiling. This is lids right here for these boxes that I'm currently filling. And they got the names of what goes in them. And I decided to go with these banana boxes because even though I have tried, I do have some things in plastic containers. The plastic containers are giving way on me, like that one down there. And I go through these and take them out, and so these are about the right weight when they're full of jars that I want to mess with. And I'm going to be the one mostly messing with them, so that's why they're like this. So I put the name on them outside clearly, and then the same name is going to be on the outside. And here's two that are full. Now, this is an outdoor building. It does have mice. And if the jars are... These are not sterilized by any means. They're just clean. But as long as they're clean, the mice don't seem to bother them that much. Every once in a while, I will find a little mice nest inside one of the jars. So I have been for years wondering what to do with old, rusty, yucky, nasty looking. I'm not going to use these for food. And you're not supposed to use them twice anyway, but I do sometimes. But these are perfect. Let's see if I've got some over here to put on the jars. I put them on really loose, but it just seals the jars. Now, when I go to use these jars, of course, I'm going to scrub them again and sterilize them and everything else. But this way, half the job's done for me. Now, I don't have enough of the old rings, the old rusty rings and lids to put on all of them. But as I keep doing this, I will, because I've been throwing them away. And I won't do that anymore. It's just a good way to recycle them and put a good use to them. Then the insides of these jars will be clean. So, got some of our sorghum seeds still in here. And this is what I've got left to do. Like I said, it was all the way to the ceiling. So it looks, I know it looks like a mess. Here's some more canned goods over here. I've got to get all of them clean off down to the bottom and get them jars off the shelf, the empty jars off the shelf, and the lids just to put food. Because we do keep this, it's got our big freezer in here, and it's got our well pump. So we do keep this room above freezing, but that's about it. But the jar goods do just fine in here. Got all my extra canning stuff up here. So this has just been an ongoing mess. And I have jars back there with old food that I got from auctions, and I'm about to get to them. I haven't got to them yet, but I'm about to. There's some over there. You can see them. They come from auctions, and those jars are still perfectly fine. So this is what I am working on, trying to get most of it done before planting season starts. Because I got the whole porch out here filled up. There's some stuff I've got in plastic containers that I do not want mice to get in, canning supplies and ice cream machines, but right out here is my garden. So it's just at the right place. I wanted to show you this jar. It has no name on it, but it's a heavy jar. Some kind of food, probably mayonnaise or peanut butter came in it, probably back in the 1960s, 70s, back when manufacturers cared about families and they knew these moms would reuse these jars. And it's not all the manufacturers' fault that they don't do this anymore. It's our throwaway society. They know that we're just going to throw it away, or glass isn't safe, or whatever the reason. They don't do this. Some companies do it, very few, but they used to make put all their jelly in jars that you could use as glasses, and people appreciated that because they not only got the food that's in the jar, but they could reuse the jar. Now, you can't do that with, I don't even think mayonnaise even comes in glass jars anymore, but lots of the jars nowadays, they may be in a jar, but it's the thin, you know, as soon as you touch it, it's going to break. But I can tell by the weight of this jar that this is a canning jar, wide mouth, and I can use this as a canning jar. Okay, I got to my first corner, and I'm sure it's been 10 or 15 years since that area has been reached. So I got all the jars out. So this is creepy science experiment territory. The lids on these things have rusted off, and they are beyond nasty. Am I going to use them? Yep. I'll get them back to where they're supposed to be. They don't look like they'll ever make it that far. Let's see, we got some beautiful... Oh, that one's empty. Look here. We got some nice pickles. So what happened is the lids rusted off. So we got beautiful things down the bottom. Rusted lids. And I know this is beyond some of you guys' stomachs to be able to handle, but I've been messing with mess all my life, so I'm going to get these cleaned up. Well, I got them out here in the sun. A big problem is getting those rusted lids off. Sometimes they just won't come off, and those I will just go ahead and discard. But I'm going to try to get them off. Yes, would it be so much easier just to go to the grocery store and buy more jars? But most of these are antique jars, and the antique jars are just a better quality, even though they don't look like it right now. They are better quality than the ones that they're making now. And over time, yes, they do get more fragile, but they are still, the quality in them is just better. The glass is just so much thicker that they will still last for years. So we're going to get started on trying to get the lids off and the contents out. So I'm just going to scrape them out, I mean. Well, I was able to get all the lids off and empty all the contents out. A beautiful black bucket of it over there. So now I'm just going to fill these up with water and let them sit for a couple days out here in the sun. Here they are. This is about as clean as I'm going to get them. They still have stains around the edges that could be gotten off with some steel wool. But would you eat out of those? We're going to, after they're scrubbed again and sterilized. But just some thoughts on saving some money on some jars. Get the difference in the stack. So you saw earlier in the video, it almost stacked to the roof. So now we've got it way down. I think I've got 6 more boxes to go through. We've got some mysterious liquid. I think it may be molasses on the floor. So the good thing about this is, and the reason I'm getting the jars up off the floor, I did find that we do have one pallet there, is that we can run water in here. So I'll be cleaning that out and run water and just rinse that out. It's really sticky. And now you can see my canning shelves, and have been working on the seeds. We've already got the seeds off of these, and I've got enough seeds now to plant, plenty of seeds to plant, but I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of these containers to do a cover crop on some old land that really needs some work. So we got these going. These are ready to go into a box. I'm going to go ahead and do another round. The boxes are getting filled up. And it's just it's not looking a whole lot better, but the big bulk of the junk is getting down. Oh, and these are my lids. I told you I was saving lids to put on the jars, the old lids, but these lids are the rusted ones that are just too bad, and I've got my little stash right here that are decent enough to seal off the jars to keep the mice out of them. So, a little bit of progress anyway. I wanted to show you what I was saving for these little lids for. They're clean, but they're stained, they're rusty, and I just lightly put them on these jars. They won't fall off, but they're not loose because I don't want the old rubber that's on these lids to stick on the jars. Like, I've had to scrape them off of a lot of jars, but it's just sealing this jar so nothing can get into it. And like I said, I don't have enough for each one, but I will start collecting them and do this to all my jars. The ones that I'm going to store for long term. The ones that I'm using, they will return back to this shelf, and they're in the house on shelves, and very few of these will be used every year for canning, because these are all my extras that I've saved for my children. And you might think, well, those things are all nasty and everything, and they were. This is an old cur jar, but these jars are so heavy and thick. They're just made so much better than what you buy today. And these have just been cleaned out. Once I take them in the house, scrub them again, and sterilize them again, they'll be just as good as new. So that's why I'm doing all this, is so these won't end up in the landfill. And I bought them in bulk at different kind of sales, like I told you before, and they're just good to have. And my children, then, I hope I have enough for both of my kids to be able to stock their households. Now here's how much better the garden looks since I started working on this. It is all ready to be planted, And the crazy thing is, yesterday it was 82. This is the first week in April, and in the next few days it's going to be down to freezing, so I'm not that late. But our last frost date's mid-April anyway.